In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came unto Jerusalem and besieged it. The world was still young, a canvas yet untouched. In those early days, far beyond the reach of human conflict, Yahweh crafted a paradise, a realm lush with vibrant life, the Garden of Eden. Dawn unfurled gracefully over the horizon, bathing the garden in golden light. From cerulean skies, draped with clouds, to the myriad of trees laden with fruits of every kind, creation's choir commenced. Birds chirping, flowers blooming, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves. Within this divine masterpiece slept Adam, the first man, created from dust and imbued with the breath of life. As he stirred, the beauty around him awoke his senses. Pools shimmered under the sun, and distant mountains stood watch over the tranquil expanse. Yet, amidst the splendor lay a heaviness in Adam's heart, a yearning for connection, for companionship. Despite being granted dominion over all creatures, he felt a gnawing solitude that echoed throughout the garden. As Adam roamed through this divine abode, he became the giver of names: lion, lamb, eagle, serpent. Each name he spoke vibrated with creative power, reflecting the artisanship of their maker. Yet, even the companionship of the myriad creatures could not fill the void he felt. Beneath the shade of an ancient fig tree, Adam gazed up toward heaven, his heart brimming with longing. "O God," he called, "what do I lack?" In that moment of sincerity, Yahweh's soothing voice reverberated through the garden. "It is not good for man to be alone." Words laden with promise, a purpose for community, companionship forthwith. Yet, the splendid creation surrounding Adam could not satiate the deep-seated need in his soul. The yearning persisted. Then, wrapped in the intimacy of divine artistry, God caused a deep sleep to envelop Adam. In sublime silence, the Creator carefully removed a rib from his side, breathing life into the flesh and forming a woman, Eve. When Adam awakened and sight met recognition, joy exploded within him. "This is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh," he exclaimed, declaring love in its purest form. In their togetherness, Adam and Eve were woven into the fabric of divine intention, connected as equals, embodying harmony. Yet, in the brilliance of this paradise, a solemn command lingered like a shadow. Of any tree may they eat, save for one, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Herein lay the beauty of choice, the burden of obedience. Freedom danced tantalizingly with temptation. Days faded into weeks, and the garden flourished under the watchful gaze of the Creator. Yet Eve found herself wandering near the forbidden tree, drawn like moth to flame. The serpent, cunning and deceitful, slithered forth, sowing seeds of doubt. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" he whispered, insidiously probing her thoughts. The question beckoned her toward rebellion. Risk and reward lined the path before her. The allure of the forbidden fruit gleamed and evoked deep desires within her. In that stillness, the wisdom of God's decree clashed with the serpent's persuasion, presenting Eve with a decision imbued with weight that would echo through eternity. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now, let's continue with what the Lord did next. Eve stood on the brink, fingers trembling as they brushed against the fruit. Would she dare defy the Creator? Would the command of God hold true? Within the garden's resplendent silence, her heart raced, and with each passing moment, the weight of her choice settled deeper. The air thickened with a divine anticipation, a moment poised to redefine creation itself. As Eve's hand hovered over the vibrant fruit, entangled in the serpent's words, time stood still in the garden. The flora around her, once a source of joy, now bore witness to the unfolding tension. A cosmic struggle lay at the threshold of Eden. In her heart, doubts burgeoned, whispered by the very whisperer of deceit. Would not eating bring forth wisdom? Would she not become like God, knowing both good and evil? The fruit, gleaming in the dappled sunlight, promised empowerment and knowledge. The very essence of temptation danced tantalizingly before her. And as she grasped it, a pulse of rebellion stirred within, the seeds of disobedience planted in the soil of her soul. With a quick glance toward Adam, who, tilling the earth nearby, unaware of the peril creeping into their paradise, she took a deep breath and bit into the forbidden fruit. The flesh yielded sweetly, a burst of flavor filling her mouth, sweetness colliding with guilt. In that moment, clarity pierced through the haze. Understanding surged, but it was tainted. The innocence of their hearts shattered like glass. Adam, sensing a change, turned his gaze toward Eve. Her countenance, once lit with purity, was now clouded, an aura of conflicted knowledge enveloping her. She extended the fruit towards him. Taste and see. With heartbeats echoing in the stillness of the garden, Adam hesitated. Within his soul, a wrestle began. Loyalty to his beloved warred against his allegiance to the Creator. Yet, the longing for intimacy, for shared experience, prevailed. He took the fruit, biting into the same sweetness. Suddenly, scales seemed to drop from their eyes. The bliss of ignorance gave way to a staggering awareness. They were naked.
The shame surged forward, as if the breath of life itself had shrunk away, leaving only vulnerability exposed. Quickly, they sewed fig leaves together, fashioning coverings for their newfound shame, desperate attempts to hide from the omniscient gaze of their Creator. The garden, once a haven, now echoed with anxiety and fear as they sought refuge among the trees, a futile gesture to evade the presence of the one who sees all. In the cool of the evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a soft rustling broke the silence. The divine steps approached, resonating with a familiar rhythm. God walked in the garden, calling forth his creation. "Where are you?" A voice laced with sorrow, seeking the lost in their own design of rebellion. Adam stepped forth, trembling. "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." The truth hung heavy in the air, a far cry from the innocence once held. God, knowing well what had unfolded, inquired, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" The weight of the moment pressed down upon them, for the truth was undeniable. With trembling lips, Adam answered, "The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate." Blame danced like shadows upon their heart, as Eve, in turn, quaked beneath God's inquisition. "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Divine justice and mercy swirled in the air, as God addressed the serpent, declaring the consequences of its deception, while a veil of sorrow descended upon the first couple. Yet, beneath the weightiness of judgment, a glimmer of hope emerged, a promise of redemption intertwined within the edict. "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." As the depth of their transgression set in, the garden felt forever changed. With heavy hearts, Adam and Eve stood on the precipice of a new reality, a world pregnant with loss, yet surrounded by shadows of hope. Creation had begun to unravel. Yet, in the midst of chaos, God's unwavering sovereignty whispered of a greater plan. For in that cursed ground, the stage was set for the unfolding narrative of mankind, a story of grace, redemption, and the promise that something magnificent was yet to come. What lay ahead in God's divine plan would echo through generations, for as the serpent slunk away in defeat, the heart of God remained steadfast, woven with grace and truth. As Adam and Eve stood before the Almighty, the weight of their disobedience bore down upon them like the oppressive heat of the midday sun. Their hearts, once unencumbered by fear, now throbbed with guilt and dread. God, in his unfathomable wisdom, spoke once more, proclaiming the consequences of their actions. The fruits of their choice now loomed large in the garden, casting shadows upon their souls.
To the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply your pain in childbirth. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. The words reverberated in the stillness, a stark change to the harmony that once prevailed. Then, turning his gaze to Adam, the Lord declared, Because you have heeded the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. A shroud of silence enveloped the garden as their Creator's pronouncements settled deep into the very fabric of creation. The once lush expanse transformed into a land fraught with struggle and strife. Adam's heart sank with the understanding that paradise had been forfeited, the eternal communion with God now marked by distance and separation. Yet, even in this moment of profound grief, the promise lingered. God spoke, revealing a future marked not solely by tragedy, but also by restoration. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. The words hung in the air, pregnant with prophetic meaning, echoed throughout the eons, advancing the narrative of a coming deliverer who would one day crush the serpent's lies. As the couple's eyes met, clarity began to dawn. No longer were they merely bound by the curse, but also by the hope that existed beyond it. They sensed the hand of their Creator continuing to work, weaving a tapestry that included redemption, a promise whispering not just of pain, but of future joy. In sorrow yet resolute, Adam called his wife's name Eve, and in that moment he understood the fullness of her being, the mother of all living. Their togetherness in this new age of understanding bore witness to a changed reality. Yet the heartbeat of God's creation continued. As the sun faded, casting long shadows that danced across the ground, God made garments of skin for Adam and Eve. They were covered, their shame momentarily cloaked in divine provision. The act signified more than mere comfort. It heralded the first glimpse of sacrificial grace, foreshadowing the pivotal moments yet to come in the greater story of salvation. With the garden gates closing behind them, Adam and Eve stepped out into the world, a world ripe with both suffering and promise. The tremors of their choices echoed across the landscape, yet the longing for reconnection with the Creator remained embedded in their hearts. As they ventured forth, the seeds of humanity's journey were sown, each step bearing the mark of consequence, but also the first hints of mercy.
Unbeknownst to them, their descendants would cling to the whispered hope of a coming Redeemer, one who would repair the rift and satisfy the longing of every soul seeking to return home. Amidst the toil and trials that awaited them, the question lingered in the quiet corners of their hearts. What greater unfolding was yet to be revealed through the promise of God's enduring plan, And how would redemption burst forth from the ashes of their disobedience? The story was just beginning. As Adam and Eve tread upon the uncharted soil of the world beyond Eden, the air itself seemed to quiver with uncertainty. The sun's last rays painted the sky in hues of crimson and gold, a fleeting reflection of the radiant glory they once knew. Their hearts, heavy with the shadows of their choice, felt a stirring within them, an echo of God's promise that reverberated still, unwavering in its power. They wandered through the thickets, their senses overwhelmed by a creation now marred, yet still bearing the whispers of beauty. The sounds of rustling leaves and distant calls of creatures filled the air, a bittersweet symphony. Eve, feeling the pangs of her future, reached for her womb, a gesture pregnant with anticipation and agony alike. In the quiet moments, as night descended like a shroud, Adam spoke of the days to come. "We must cultivate the earth, Eve. The Lord has entrusted us with this burden, and though we bear the scars of our choices, we must strive to fulfill our purpose." Eve, her voice trembling, replied, "What will become of us, Adam? What if the pain is greater than what we can bear?" With a resolute heart, Adam responded, "We must cling to the promise. He has not forsaken us. There is hope amidst the sorrow." His words were a balm, offering strength to her trembling spirit. As they labored, the first fruits of their toil emerged, a small patch of grain, tender and green against the harshness of the land. Each harvest brought a reminder of their struggle and a flicker of the divine blessing that had once flowed freely in Eden. The thorns and thistles became witnesses to their perseverance and a reminder of their fallen state. Yet the grains of wheat also stood as markers of hope, the first sign of provision amidst the curse. As days turned into seasons, Adam and Eve experienced the fullness of life and its inherent trials. Their bond deepened through shared joys and sorrows, and with each child born into the world, a bittersweet mixture of wonder and dread filled their hearts. For though new life came forth as a gift, each cry echoed the pain foretold, a reminder of the struggle they now endured. The innate desire for communion with the Creator festered within them like a flame, manifesting in their children. As Cain was born, Adam named him, saying, "I have acquired a man from the Lord." And when Abel came forth, he was cherished as a shepherd of flocks, bringing forth offerings that reflected their humble beginnings.
Yet the shadows of the past intertwined with the future. Enmity arose between the brothers, a manifestation of the curse that had been pronounced. As the fields grew under Adam's care, so too did the jealousy and anger within Cain's heart, leading to a fateful moment that would further extend the legacy of their transgression. In a chilling confrontation, God sought his fallen creation, saying, "Where is Abel your brother?" To which Cain, consumed by sin, retorted defiantly, "Am I my brother's keeper?" The weight of shame hung upon him, yet God's voice persisted, a call towards repentance. Eve watched in horror as her firstborn fell deeper into a chasm of darkness, her heart aching for a lost connection, a wound opening anew with each heartbeat. She clung to Adam, the memory of the promise lingering in her thoughts, and whispered, "What if the serpent's words have truly taken hold?" And as the fruit of their choices began to take root in the hearts of their offspring, Adam replied cautiously, "There is still a purpose, a promise that will one day emerge from our lineage. We must not falter." Within every act of sacrifice, amidst every shadow of despair, the heartbeat of divine sovereignty was pulsing. Unbeknownst to them, the tapestry of salvation was being woven through their lineage, as God's plan unfolded in ways beyond their understanding, shrouded in the mystery of his unfathomable grace. They could not yet fathom how the cries of pain would herald joys yet to come, how redemption and reconciliation would ripple through the ages, echoing from the depths of their despair. Shadows danced upon the horizon, Whispers of a future deliverance lingered just beyond their grasp. How would God's sovereign plan manifest through the lineage of Adam and Eve? And what sacred transformations awaited in the coming generations? And it came to pass that as the hours became days, and the days turned into years, the countenance of Adam and Eve bore the marks of a life of toil and striving. Yet in that struggle, they found moments of brightness as their children began to grow. Cain, strong and full of promise, took to the fields with his father, while Abel, gentle and contemplative, wandered among the flocks, seeking companionship with the creatures of the earth. In their hearts, Adam and Eve nurtured a dual hope and fear. They feared for their offspring, aware that the weight of sin they had embraced could infect the very fabric of their family. Yet they hoped continuously in the remembrance of God's promise. Every night, when they gathered beneath the starry expanse, the twinkling heavens whispered of a light yet to come, renewing their faith. "Let us teach our sons of the Lord," Eve pressed one evening, her voice trembling like the leaves of the willow tree nearby. "For it is through him that we were made whole. They must know of the gardens we left behind, and of the love that still clings to us like dew upon the grass."
Adam nodded, his heart heavy yet hopeful. "Yes, Eve, and let them understand the weight of our choices. For from the dust we came, and to the dust we returns. But it is through submission to his will that life flows abundantly." Thus, the evenings became a time of storytelling, where Adam retold the story of creation, the forming of man from dust, the breath of life bestowed, the creation of woman from man's rib. They spoke of Eden, of the garden where peace flowed freely, and of the enemy's cunning words. As seasons changed, Cain and Abel began to bring forth their offerings to the Lord. Cain, fruits from the ground, and Abel, the firstlings of his flock. With each gift, a tension began to weave through their brotherhood, as the Lord looked favorably upon Abel's offering, while Cain's offering met with less regard. Cain's heart grew heavy, turning towards a darkness he could not comprehend. "Why do you look so dejected, brother?" Abel asked one day over their shared meal, his tone gentle, though concern knitted his brow. Cain, consumed by bitterness and envy, replied, "Is it not enough to give back what the earth provides? Or do you believe your gifts to be superior?" His words carried the venom of resentment, felt in the very marrow of his being. The ground beneath them shuddered at the subtle seed of hatred taking root in Cain. For the adversary who had whispered deceit into the hearts of Adam and Eve now sought to cultivate despair and distrust in their son. Yet before Cain could act on his malice, the voice of the Lord called out, "Cain, why are you angry? Why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do well, sin lies at the door. Its desire is for you, but you should rule over it." This divine call rang powerfully in Cain's heart, a last plea extending an appeal for repentance. But blinded by anger, Cain turned away, darkness enveloping him further, and in that moment the spirit of vengeance whispered sweetened lies, seducing him deeper into sin. Meanwhile, Adam and Eve felt the shift in their sons. There was an unspoken tension, a growing rift that tugged at their hearts, a foreboding sense that their greatest challenges might not only arise from this cursed earth, but from within their own home. Their prayers, mingled with tears, rose to the heavens, pleading for peace and restoration within their household. And as they cried out, the promise of God loomed larger on the horizon, waiting for the right moment to shatter the silence that had fallen over their family. Little did they know that the struggle they endured would echo throughout generations, carried forth in their lineage. And it was amidst this strife God was crafting a plan
a message of grace that would ripple through the ages, intimately intertwined with betrayal, sacrifice, and the eventual redemption of a fallen world.
For the story was far from over, and the sacred journey that would stem from their names would reveal the unfathomable depths of divine love and sovereign purpose. Would they recognize the threads of hope woven through their hardships? And would they see the first glimmers of God's ultimate plan, one that would forever change the course of humanity? And it came to pass that in the shadow of the evening, while the sun painted the horizon with hues of crimson and gold, Cain, stewing in his rage, withdrew from the company of his brother. He walked the fields alone, and his heart was a tempest. The silence engulfed him, but within that silence, a voice whispered insidiously, urging him to act upon the darkness that had taken root within. "Why should you suffer in silence while your brother is favored?" it coiled around his thoughts. "Is not the earth yours as much as it is his? Seize what is yours." So Cain, in his bitterness, plotted against his brother. The allure of vengeance became a consuming fire, igniting a fervent desire to prove his worth through blood rather than devotion. Meanwhile, Abel tended his flocks, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing within Cain's heart. Each day he offered his sacrifices with a humble spirit and found joy in the love of his Creator. Yet the heavens seemed to be watching, for Abel was a direct reflection of God's mercy and grace, a treasure sought by the Father as the faithful offerings rose before him. As twilight deepened, Cain's heart grew colder, and in the solitude of the fields he called to Abel, "Come to me, brother, that we may speak face to face." Abel, trusting and innocent, approached, sensing no evil in Cain's voice. But all at once, Cain, overwhelmed by fury, struck his brother down beneath the gathering darkness, believing that in death the burden of favor would cease to weigh upon him. The earth trembled as Abel's lifeblood soaked into the soil. The ground that had once given life now bore the fruit of death. And the voice of the Lord echoed in the stillness, piercing through the veil of darkness, asking, "Where is Abel, your brother?" Cain, in trembling defiance, replied, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Yet within those words, the weight of his guilt pressed down like a heavy stone, for he could not hide from the eye of the Lord who sees all. The Creator, whose heart ached for the innocent blood spilled upon the earth, spoke a judgment over Cain. "Cursed shall you be, from the ground which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer upon the earth." A great fear seized Cain's spirit, for he realized the gravity of his sin. "My punishment is greater than I can bear, for whoever finds me shall slay me," he cried, his voice quaking. Yet, in the midst of judgment, God extended mercy. "Not so. If anyone kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold." Thus, the Lord set a mark upon Cain, a sign of protection, showing that even in his sin, God's mercy was vast and unfathomable. As Cain departed from the presence of the Lord, wandering into the land of Nod, east of Eden, Adam and Eve mourned the loss of Abel, their son, whom they had cherished. Their hearts were rent asunder by sorrow, and they despaired over the division that had come upon their family. But even as tears fell from Eve's eyes, a flicker of hope ignited in her heart, whispering to her spirit, a promise yet fulfilled, a redemptive grace beginning to weave itself through the very fabric of their lineage. For from this line, the trials of humanity would march forward unrelenting, but the tapestry of God's salvation was already taking shape in the heavens. And in the distance, beyond the grasp of their understanding, lay God's sovereign plan, one that would lead to the deliverance of many, born from the ashes of betrayal and unyielding sin, overcoming even the deepest darkness. Thus, the tale was far from finished, as it beckoned toward unseen pathways, And lingered the question of restoration, lingering faintly on the winds. Could hope emerge from such despair? For in God's eternal design, the promise of redemption awaited, even in the shadows of fallen men. And it came to pass as Cain wandered in the land of Nod, the weight of his fratricide bearing down upon him, that he felt the desolation of his soul, a gnawing emptiness where joy once resided. The mark of the Lord remained upon him, a constant reminder of his transgression, yet it was also a testament to God's mercy, for in his punishment he was not forsaken. In this wilderness, Cain settled, building a city named Enoch after his firstborn son. Each day he toiled, crafting new beginnings from the soil that had cursed him. In his heart, a flicker of rebellion warred with an awareness of the divine, a struggle that mirrored the chaos of a world shaped by fallen hands. The city flourished, and with it, Cain's lineage began to expand, the names of his descendants inscribed upon the annals of humanity. Among Cain's sons was Jabal, the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. He became a shepherd of flocks, a master of the earth's provision. Yet the shadow of his father hovered over him, echoing the ancient curse. Then came Jubal, the father of all those who play the harp and the flute, pouring forth music that, while beautiful, could never stem the undercurrent of sorrow, as melodies danced upon the air, yet never quieted the cry of Abel's blood from the ground. Lamech, another of Cain's sons, emerged with an audacious spirit that twisted the lessons of his forefather into a bold proclamation. "Hear me, O wives of Lamech," he declared. "I have slain a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me." Thus, the cycle of violence deepened, a testament to Cain's legacy, a lineage marred by sin, yet gifted with the ingenuity to shape the world.
Meanwhile, in the shadowed corners of Eden, Adam and Eve wrestled with their grief. In their sorrow, the Lord drew near, speaking to them gently. "When you face the weight of loss, remember that my love endures beyond human frailty. I am the God of redemption, even from sorrow's depths." In due time, Eve conceived again and bore a son named Seth, saying, "For God has appointed for me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain killed." Thus a new line came forth, a lineage destined to walk in faithfulness. And though Abel was lost, the promise of a righteous seed flickered anew, a beacon of hope against the darkened backdrop of human rebellion. As the years passed, the descendants of Seth began to call upon the name of the Lord, lifting their voices in prayer and sacrifice. God's hand rested upon them, and through them he began to weave his divine narrative, a thread of grace interlacing through the fabric of humanity's trials. Yet, unbeknownst to Cain and Lamech, beyond their cities and music, beyond their industry steeped in sin, the stage was being set for an even greater revelation. While man sought his own glory, God's plan moved steadily forward, hidden in the hearts of faithful mortals. And as the cry of humanity rose like incense before the thrice holy God, he prepared to unveil a new covenant, one that would reach beyond the boundaries of Cain's legacy, igniting splendor from the ashes of sin. For even in disobedience, grace still prevailed, whispering of a future restoration. As generations turned like pages in the great book of time, a question lingered in the very marrow of creation. What wondrous steps would the Lord take next to fulfill his promise of salvation amidst the turmoil of the human heart? And it came to pass that in the days of Seth, the son of Adam, the earth was filled with the sons and daughters of men. Generations multiplied, and in their hearts the desire to seek God grew. The children of Seth called upon the name of the Lord, offering sacrifices upon altars of clay and stone, earning favor before the Almighty. Through Seth, Enosh was born,
And in those days, men began to call upon the name of the Lord more fervently. Their prayers rose like a sweet aroma unto heaven, each soul seeking communion with the Creator. Yet, even amid their piety, shadows loomed from the east, where the descendants of Cain prospered in their own folly, a stark contrast to the faithfulness of Seth's line. Now, the descendants of Cain found great success in their endeavors, building cities and establishing realms of innovation. Jabal thrived in his herding, and Jubal captivated many with his music. Yet, beneath the surface of their achievements lay a growing pride, a reliance on their own strengths, which ever drew them further from the path of righteousness. Lamech, emboldened by his father's legacy, claimed fame through his boastful songs, proclaiming the great deeds of violence, teaching a heart of vengeance to his sons and daughters.
Thus, a culture of brutality arose among Cain's children, entwined with a thirst for power, drowning out the whispers of God. But the Spirit of God stirred still in the hearts of Seth's descendants. Enoch, the son of Jared, walked with God, and his countenance shone with divine light. He prophesied warnings to the people, crying out, "Repent and turn back to the Creator, for the day of reckoning draweth near." Yet the world heeded not his cry, consumed by ambitions and passions that led to ruin. As Enoch walked faithfully, his heart was aligned with the will of God. The Lord revealed to him glimpses of the future, speaking of a coming judgment that would cleanse the earth of wickedness and restore creation to its intended glory. Enoch shared these visions, igniting hope amidst despair. The Lord will return with thousands of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, he declared with fervor, speaking of mercy hidden within judgment. But alas, the noise of merriment and revelry drowned Enoch's voice. The people laughed and scorned, their hearts hardened as stone. They reveled in their pursuits, blind to the impending counsel of their Creator. Amidst this tumult, godly descendants like Noah began to emerge. His heart bent towards righteousness, set apart from a generation steeped in corruption. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, for he walked in integrity, and, like Enoch, he began to prepare for the unknown. And the Lord spoke once more, "The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, for I shall bring floodwaters upon the earth to destroy every creature." Thus began the journey of preparation, a divine plan destined to transform the course of history, foreshadowing the perfect redemption yet to come. As the legacy of Cain teetered on the edge of destruction, heaven awaited the rising of Noah and the continuation of God's sovereign promise. Indeed, what transformation awaited on the other side of divine judgment? What covenants would the Lord establish to restore his creation? The hearts of man remained heavy with questions. And it came to pass that Noah, moved by the Lord's command, began to gather the materials for the ark. The trees of the forest fell before his mighty hands, and the voice of the Lord echoed through the desolate landscape, filling the hearts of the righteous and striking fear into the souls of the wicked. For Noah understood the significance of the task. He was to be the steward of creation, a remnant chosen to carry forth the promise of God. As the mighty structure rose, spreading its beams of gopher wood toward the heavens, so did the laughter of men fill the air. The descendants of Cain mocked his labor, pointing and jeering, saying, "What is this strange vessel? What is this doom you speak of, O righteous one?" Yet Noah, firm in his resolve, heeded not their scorn, but continued in unwavering faith, declaring unto them the impending flood. "Turn from your wicked ways," he pleaded, "for the Lord shall shut the door of the ark, and none shall enter but those whom he has chosen." But they remained indifferent, consuming their days in wickedness and excess, drowning out the cries of the faithful with noise and revelry.
Then the Lord spoke again, saying, "Gather unto thee 2 of every kind of creature, male and female, to keep them alive with thee." And Noah obeyed, gathering the beasts of the field and the fowls of the air. Each day brought new wonders as pairs of creatures drew near, a testament to God's command. The lion and the lamb, the raven and the dove, all fulfilling the divine decree. And in those days the heart of Noah was heavy, for he saw the hearts of men hardened against the grace of God. Reflecting upon the creation that had been marred by sin, he felt the weight of the Lord's sorrow. In the depths of the knowledge revealed to him, Noah trembled at the thought of divine judgment. Within his soul, a deep longing grew, to see the earth restored, to witness the deliverance of his family, and to honor the faithfulness of God. As the time approached, the skies darkened, and the atmosphere thickened with an unsettling stillness. Then the first drops fell. As each raindrop struck the parched ground, it reverberated like the heartbeat of the Creator, signaling both mercy and terror. The heavens opened wide, and the downpour began, relentless and torrential. Inside the ark, the animals settled in their appointed places, and Noah, along with his wife, his sons, and their wives, offered up fervent prayers. They raised their voices unto the Lord, pleading for his mercy and guidance amid the chaos outside. The waters of the deep erupted, and the earth trembled, for the floods released their fury, consuming all they had laid eyes upon, save the righteous remnant sealed within the ark. And thus days turned into nights, and nights into weeks, as the deluge engulfed the world, carrying them upon the waters that cleanse. The sounds of despair faded into the background, eclipsed by the rhythmic creaking of the ark and the prayers of those within. Yet amid the destruction, the promise of God was not forgotten. For in this very storm, the Lord had spoken to Noah, will be the birth of a new covenant, one of hope and grace for generations to come. What new beginnings awaited on the horizon? What new life would emerge from the depths of the deluge? Even as the waters rose, the heart of God stirred, weaving a tapestry of divine redemption underneath the tumult. The question that lingered remained: what covenant would he forge anew with mankind, and how would it echo through the ages? And it came to pass that after 40 days and 40 nights, the deluge began to relent. The tempest's fury eventually subsided. The weight of water pressed heavy upon the earth, but as the skies cleared, the mercies of God shimmered through a fragile light.
Noah, faithful and steadfast, extended his gaze over the shifting, sun-drenched waters. All that had come before was swept away, leaving a canvas ripe for renewal. When at last the ark came to rest upon the mountaintop of Ararat, the sacred ground echoed with divine promise. With bated breath, Noah turned to his family, and together, hearts entwined in reverence, they offered their thanks unto the Almighty for their preservation. Within the quiet embrace of the ark, they felt the Spirit stirring, a tender reminder that though devastation may mark a chapter, hope awaits at every turn. As the vessel's doors swung open at the command of God, creation began to unfold anew. Noah stepped forth into a world washed clean, the air crisp and fragrant, reminiscent of the first breath breathed into man. The vibrant colors returned to a landscape once overshadowed by sin. With reverence, Noah marveled at the wonder of rebirth, filled with gratitude for the gift of life restored. In that sacred moment, God spoke again, sealing his promise. "I establish my covenant with you and your descendants after you. Never again will the floodwaters destroy all life. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." And as a beautiful bow arched across the sky, a sign of the covenant,
Noah bowed low before the Creator, the symbol resplendent with hues reflecting divine love. This covenant was not merely a promise against destruction, but a testament of lasting grace, God's faithfulness unfurled and woven through the tapestry of redemption. In the years that followed, as the dust settled and the earth thrived, generation after generation emerged from the loins of Noah. Each child born carried forward the legacy of faith, the echoes of divine promise resonating through their hearts. They flourished, and a remnant of humanity held fast to the remembrance of God's deliverance, to the sacred story that began with Adam and Eve and now wove through the hearts of the faithful. Yet shadows remained, seeds of rebellion buried deep in human hearts. Sin would continue to seep through the veil, reaching out its tendrils to corrupt and twist. But even in this, God's covenant held true. The narrative of redemption would not yield, but expand and deepen, for the heart of God longed for unity with His creation, a plan etched in eternity. As centuries spooled forward, the lineage bore both pain and glory, with echoes of a Redeemer growing nearer along the threads of time. From the depths of trials rose a faithful remnant, those who would seek Him even amidst a chaotic world. The promise persisted, whispering the truth that one day, through the lineage of mankind, the ultimate deliverer would arrive, shattering the chains of sin and ushering in eternal communion with the Father. And so, the great narrative convened a climactic crescendo, filled with tears shimmering in hope.
The sages and prophets would rise, heralding the coming Savior, the one who would not merely cover shame, but atone for it, forever stitching together heaven and earth with the crimson thread of grace. As the words lingered in the air, a divine vow born from the ashes, so should our hearts cling tightly to the covenant of promise that transcends all. For through each chapter of despair, there unfolds a profound beauty of redemption, stretching beyond the veil, beckoning every soul toward the everlasting embrace of the Creator. Indeed, hope prevailed, and amidst this sacred tapestry, we find ourselves intertwined with the eternal story, invited to lean into grace, knowing that through faith, even our frail hearts can become vessels of His magnificent love. As we reflect on this miraculous journey through Genesis, I invite you now to deepen your connection to God's Word. You need to subscribe immediately to stay closely bound to the powerful unfolding of these biblical narratives. If this story has touched your spirit today, leave a like right now. Your engagement helps spread God's truth through the algorithm, reaching those in search of hope. Tell us your reflections in the comments below. How has this tale of redemption impacted your faith journey? Your story could inspire someone else. And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony. Send this video to at least 5 friends who need to encounter the truth of God's unwavering love today. Together, we can illuminate the path, guiding souls toward the sacred promises yet fulfilled.